Hey race fans, Alex Weaver here. I'm now going to be joined by our championship winning crew chief, Cole Pearn. Cole, we saw Richmond, Brad Keselowski, the two crew were pretty dominant all night long.
Definitely, yeah. They obviously, I don't know if you heard it or not, but they called their shot.
I don't know how you do that with no practice, but obviously they felt confident in that package, and based off their run in New Hampshire, in my experience, those two tracks are pretty different. But clearly, with that package and that style of tire, they feel pretty confident about it. It'll be interesting if they stay on that same path heading to Phoenix. We really don't know for a while, who's going to be strong, but the other teams have a lot of work to do to catch up to them.
Yeah, Kez pretty much already called a shot for Phoenix. He said he wanted that car for Phoenix too. So apparently he thinks he's making it to the championship four.
Yeah, I guess. In my experience, if you don't bring a new car to the championship race, you're going to get hosed. So it's, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see, if a car that's really good at Richmond and Loudon can be that good when it comes down to Phoenix when other teams have, 8 weeks to prep for it. So I don't know. That's one way to take it. But if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? I guess maybe is their approach.
Well, we didn't see any mistakes on track. It was the longest green flag I think I've ever seen for that race. But we did see some mistakes on pit road, which kind of shook up the competition as far as the on-track activity. Talk about those pit road cues and what went wrong and why Richmond is so difficult for teams.
Yeah, I think the speeding penalty is first off, having the corners, there's opportunities to gas it up, speed a little bit in those corners. How much you cut it is one thing. Like you can have one speed out by the wall and then you have to have another speed or RPM when you're cutting the corners. So I think maybe that's what caught those guys. But, and then that orange box at Richmond is probably one of the most difficult ones to see. And it seems to creep up the most as far as having penalties there. So I think when guys are doing the two-stop pitting under green at short track is scary. And then, the more times you do it, the more opportunity is for something to go wrong. So definitely Richmond for sure is one of those ones under green that you're just hoping nothing goes wrong.
Well, one of the drivers that had a speeding penalty on pit road was the 3 of Austin Dillon. He also struggled with the entrance of pit road as well, too, but he still ends up 4th. He's gone pretty well in the first 2 races of the NASCAR playoffs. I don't know if people expected the 3 to run as well and have as much speed as they have. What is it going to take for him to actually be a contender?
Yeah, I think it's a huge step. I mean, you spend so much of your time trying to find speed and be in contention, and that's a huge step for them, and they got to be really proud of themselves. But I think they're finding now, especially Richmond, it's one thing to have a fast car. It's another thing to execute against all those top teams and win races. It takes a whole other element of it that, I think being in contention will give them the opportunity to learn. And I think going forward, if they can maintain that speed, it's going to be those little mistakes and that execution that's going to be critical for them to advance.
Well, we talked last week about Richmond being such an unknown, and now we head to Bristol, which is not really an unknown for these teams this season. We've already raced there twice, a regular season race, and then also the All-Star race. What can we expect now heading to Bristol with a notebook full of information?
Yeah, teams definitely have a lot more to go off of this week than they did going into Richmond for sure. But, I think the biggest change in it is the right side window rule that is different than when they would have ran in the spring. So it's a big yaw moment shift, kind of takes front side force off, puts rear side force on, changes the handling a little bit of these cars. And I know it's Bristol, it's still a short track, but it's definitely fast short track. And I think that'll definitely change it for teams. But as far as, shock, springs, that type of thing that you work to get over the bumps and the transitions inside of it, that's still the same. But as far as nailing the car's balance, it's a little bit different with that right side window out.
Well, going forward, we're heading now from one short track to another. We're going to Bristol Motor Speedway for the elimination race for the round of 16 in the NASCAR playoffs. 4 guys, however, I don't know if you would say they're in a must-win, but they're in an uh-oh situation heading to Bristol, and Bristol's crazy. So what are you keeping your eye on for Bristol?
Definitely some of them are in a must-win if no one has trouble. I think that's the biggest key. Bristol is chaos. I mean, it's so easy to have something go wrong. It's the equivalent of going to Talladega in a way. You have a little bit more control over it than you do at a speedway, but things can go bad in a hurry. You have a loose wheel or a flat tire or get caught in someone else's wreck. It's so narrow. I think everyone is going to be on eggshells. That's in and sitting out. You know, those guys that are sitting out, they can be maybe more aggressive and try and do whatever they can to get a win. Because I really think unless someone screws up, they're going to be in that situation.
Out of those 4 guys, let's list them off. We have William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Matt Benedetto, and Cole Custer. Out of those 4, is there one of those that you think could possibly win at Bristol and just shake up the whole playoffs?
Yeah, I'd say Blaney's the best shot. You know, they're always in contention. I think we kind of talked about it coming out of Darlington, having a rough week. We knew they were probably not very good at Richmond for whatever reason. You know, the other 2 Penske cars were strong and they were terrible. So it's kind of that seems to be their norm. So, but Bristol's not that way. You know, I think the Penske cars are always strong there, and Ryan is definitely, you know, one of the strongest ones there. So for them, it's going to be about execution. They just can't make mistakes. And it's, you know, I think they'll be fast, but they can't beat themselves. And if they do that, then they definitely stand a good chance to get to victory lane. And I know for them, it's going to be a tight week for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to rely on having to point my way in at Bristol. That sounds like a difficult way to go. But Cole, before we go, I have to ask you, is it cold where you are? You have on a hoodie. I'm sweating and you have on a hoodie.
It's been cool mornings here, and yeah, we got wildfire smoke from California. So thinking about everybody there, I know just experiencing it here for a couple of days now is pretty miserable. So I can't imagine being on the front lines of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're sending our thoughts and prayers out to the West Coast. For those of you that don't know, Cole is in Canada, so he's joining us for some colder weather. All right, it's Bristol coming up Saturday night. We're racing again on the Saturday night show, 7:30 on NBCSN. It's Bristol, baby. You're not going to want to miss it. Cole, appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Alex.